tours, 5 weekends of performance, 5 weekends of experiences, and 5 weekends of learning about the history and the future of this park and this location. So I'm very excited. So all this is brought to you through the City of Toronto Economic Development and Cultures Arts Services Division, Councillor Ainslie's office, and through our community partners. So Friends of Gill Park, Gill Renaissance Group, Gilwood Village Association, Gill Festival Theatre, Native Child and Family Services, and the Toronto District School Board, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, our partner just over here. Sorry, I should have put it on cards. So this has been a long time in the works with everyone, and with everyone's hard work and dedication, it has really paid off. Look what we've accomplished together. I first became aware of the Clark while working on the West End, and some city folks, I think some of them over here, came to visit me at Nielsen Park Creative Center to get some ideas for here. And I was intrigued, to say the least, with what they were doing, and when the opportunity presented itself to work for the city, I naturally jumped at it. I've been working behind the scenes for the last 5 years, starting with the community consultations, remember those? Going through the naming process, science, and earned a Master's of Indigenous Philosophy from the 7th Generation Institute in Fort Francis. Shelley's first teacher was her grandmother, who taught her how to harvest food and plants as medicines, and has used this knowledge in the restoration of Indigenous plants, designing gardens, and teachings on the land. Shelley is the first Dean of Indigenous Education and Engagement at Humber College, and a cultural advisor and elder at First Nations Technical Institute Aviation School based in Tyendinaga, Mohawk Nation. So please welcome to the stage.
Bonjour, bonjour, Ali, Sego, Madakwe, Dishnakas, Mastronosha, and Dodem, Jolian, and Dokiba, Miwa, Minwane, Ashi, or Nikini, Nojumawani, Minwa, Nojumawani, in the John. Nangom, Gishika, Gwejnigo, Nopnis, Mishonis, and Arnek. Minwani Winway Nanama Kolden, Waban, Javan, Ligabino, Minwagi Wagno, Gayashka Baby, some other Yashkwan, then you Nagama, this one, Nagama Shin, Gijanmanado Miguech, Nangam Gishaka Miguech, go Kenegako Gamijan, Yaki Kino and Mana Kekajan Dayan, we don't go shin, we don't go shin. Meanwhile, Kinoe Mashin, Nakin Gajan Dayan, Arjuin Mission, Joanna Missional, Arjuin Mission, Joanna Missional. So, good morning, everyone. Again, I'm really happy to be here today with you all, and to be invited by one of my students, and just had a little chat with her creator, and she made me feel really good about, where are you? Oh, there you are. She made me feel really good about the work that I've been doing in my life, and all of the learning and the teaching that has brought me here with you today on these grounds. A very special day, and chatting with Charles earlier as well. About 40 years ago, my grandmother was here walking on this land, and she received her 40th year medal from the Victoria Order of Nursing with the Women's College Hospital. So for me right now, it's a very emotional moment to be here walking in her footsteps. And also my brother is here Ray is here with his wife Marlene, and they live here in the community. And I am forever grateful that I had such a teacher in my life, and in these days of truth and reconciliation, we think about what is it that we can do as people to help. How there's 94 calls to recommendations. I would say, what is the one thing that you think you can do? And when I look back, the one thing that I had in my life that saved my life was my grandmother, and her name was Bajadal Ganigokwe as well. So I wanted to share those words with you, and also we looked after, along with Marissa, we looked after the inside of this beautiful building before we got started, and we did that in a good way. It is our way before we gather together and do anything of utmost importance like we're doing today, is we light the fire. We start with the fire, we acknowledge creation, and we call, when we say, Mishomisananik, Kokimisananik, we're asking them, we're asking them to look this way. To look this way at all of you that are here, all of you that are here in celebration, and coming together and building this continual circle, looking 7 generations into the future. So we also say Opchigo, which is like a really big Opchigo Gachimigwech, which is a really big one for today, and also to be here to help open this building in the very best way that we can together as with all of you. Thank you so much.
And just as an item of open and transparency, my mother wrote those remarks for Karen. Good morning, everybody. It's really great to be here. Karen, I want to thank you for emceeing this morning. Shelley, thank you so much for being here this morning. I think it's very important as we open this next phase of the Guild Park and Gardens that we acknowledge the Indigenous history, the respect that they have for this land that the Guild Park and Gardens are on, the resources, and the same respect and that we should have for it as well. So we're here today to present to you the Fall for the Clark, made possible by the Clark Center for the Arts Opening Committee, comprised of the City of Toronto Arts Services, Native Child and Family Services, Scarborough Arts, Friends of the Guild Park and Gardens, the Guild Renaissance Group, the Guild Festival Theatre, the Guildwood Village Community Association, the Toronto District School Board, Sir Wilfrid Laurier Collegiate, and my office. I would like to thank all of the committee members and partners for all of their amazing, dedicated work and for contributing so meaningful to this event that showcases Scarborough's cultural and creative agency, a sneak peek at the Clark Center for the Arts and upcoming programs that it will offer. The Clark Center for the Arts is going to be a cultural gem and will offer tremendous cultural capacity to our community and beyond. I'm proud of the work that we have accomplished in constructing the center and preserving the cultural heritage of the site. Special thanks to Charles Hazell from Taylor Hazell Architects. We're going to hear from Charles in a moment. The Clark Center for the Arts, unfortunately, is currently closed to the public, but we do have a goal of opening it in 2022. City staff are going to be very focused on outfitting the center's offices and studios and ensuring all the health and safety systems are in place before opening. I want to thank City of Toronto staff for all their committed and exemplary public service, for their collaborative approach that they used. When fully operational, this center is going to have 90 arts and center programs annually that are going to be available to the public, which will include affordable pre-registered programs and workshops, community-led programming, and events, galleries, and exhibitions. Fall at the Clark is going to run from October 16th to November 21st, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can please register for time-ticketed preview indoor and outdoor tours. The indoor tours are going to include Community Information Hub, 3 gallery exhibitions by emerging youth artists, curated displays of guild artifacts, Indigenous art displays, live demonstrations, and a live wood carving demo by our friend Dorsey James, who was one of the original artists here at the Guild. Outdoor tours will include past narratives, inspiration, outside themes, a guided walkabout, live pop-up theatrical performances, and story circles.
Just to stand here, not to speak, just to stand here, and can we Joanne and Barb to come up. Joanne, Kim, Barb, Plain, come Deanne, Miranda. I don't know if Andrea's around. Julie, can you come? Where's Ian? Come on. Oh, where's Alex? Yes, Alex. Just everybody, just to come and say, this is, yes, here's Alex. You know, with the mask on, it's very hard to see. I just want everybody to think this is a part of the team, not even all of the team. There's Andrea that we put this together. So I just wanted to, I get to stand up here and I'm like, all these people should be here with me. So thank you very much.
This is the best culture team, not just for this building, but across the city. And I can't thank them enough. I get to stand up here and be the city councilor. This is the team that did this. Big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone.
I'd love to see how this is now used exactly as we had hoped, and what an occasion this is. Also, I want to draw attention to the butternut tree. Barb, you'll remember the butternut tree. Basically, this is the building's in a kind of circle around the butternut tree in terms of the significance that it assumed once we found out it was a species of Ontario butternut from the Carolinian forest. So, and I know that Shelley and I were talking a bit about that too. Okay, so I'm here to, I guess, revel in the fact that there are people here finally, and that is the point behind what we did, and so it is a remarkable moment just in terms of this crowd spaced out. Now you know how to do it. You're 2 meters apart. You just do this instinctively, and hopefully one day we can come a little closer together and all that. And I guess some of that process occurs now when this center, which is all about that relationship to creative process, starts to take place. And thank you very much for manifesting that, I think, at this moment. Really fantastic. I wanted to speak a little bit about the creative process, because that is at the root of what began, I guess, maybe even 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And there was a reference we had earlier to the RFP, which we responded to about 4 or 5 years ago, which is a request for services, architectural services. And it had, sometimes they are fairly dry. This one it had its dry moments, but it had some brilliant phrases in there, which were about the vision of this place. And I can truly say that those words kept us on track, and I think we delivered the spirit of those words. We were always looking for words in their full definition, and I think this gave us the promise of that. Also, the advocacy that I know we had to make this possible. There were some moves that we were making which were exciting, but needed to convince people that this was the right thing to do, and so you always need advocates for something to just lift off the page a little bit, and that was a pleasure to have. And then the pleasure of the process, and that's a process that's just like what's going to take place in here. Every time somebody comes to a class or listens to something, you're involved with the same thing that we are when we're in our studio, trying to figure out how to take the environment, try to take the aspirations of the program, what people want to do in this place, trying to mend a building that was a bit of a bunker, I suppose, in some ways, but it has beautiful qualities to it, and we found that very inspiring. But how do you interact with it? And then the challenge just physically of designing it, and the structure, the mechanical system, and then telling our consultants, well, we don't want it organized in a kind of orthogonal way. We're going to skew everything to 11 degrees. And then they say, well, let's just see how that can be done. So it was a great creative process, very much like, as I say, what goes on when you do anything in that spirit. And then the last thing would be the trusting in the creative process. And I think that's something that everyone brings with them here, celebrates, and then continues with that building, assisting and supporting that activity. I can only imagine how much it's going to do here. Thank you.
So the Guild Festival Theatre is Scarborough's only professional theatre company, and this year they're celebrating 10 years of bringing classics to the Guild Park. Can we give them a big round of applause? This award-winning team continually find ways to engage and expand their meaningful programming, and now include 2 main stage shows, a concert series, and a tour. Co-artistic directors Tyler Seguin and Helen Unova, along with their troupe, strive to connect the past to the present, and their outdoor annual production at the Greek Theatre has become a beloved Scarborough tradition. So please welcome one of the committee partners and your cherished cultural resource, the Guild Festival Theatre, presenting Inspiration Outside, a dynamic performance that explores the resilience of artists and unexpected sources of inspiration.
Hi everybody. I'd like to thank you all for joining us out here today on this cloudy yet still beautiful day. My name is Kane Kitagawa, and I'm here to present Guild Festival Theatre's Inspiration Outside. Now, this piece is all about inspiration, resilience, and the arts making it through time and space, and really the history of the park here. However, I'm a little unprepared. I was going to write a poem, but I couldn't really come up with anything. So instead, I talked to the people here at the building, and I asked them, well, what's going to be a huge thing that happens here? And they said, well, we're working a lot with textiles. I said, great, I love that. I know nothing about textiles. So I can't weave, I can't knit, I can't sew. What can I do? Well, I thought to myself, what do I know about fabric? I do laundry every week. So I'm really good at folding. And I don't just mean like folding regular squares and stuff like that. No, I'm talking like really elaborate folding stuff that you probably wouldn't see with fabric. I'm thinking like origami and stuff like that. So I figured that today would be a good time to show you exactly what I can do with these sorts of things. Okay, we've got another problem. I don't know what to do. I mean, I know what to do. I just don't know what's right for this situation. Like, I can hold animals, I can do people, I can do things, but like, what's right for here and today? I'm kind of missing my inspiration. Does anyone have any suggestions? An animal?
Trees.
Yeah.
Butterfly.
A butterfly. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, I can definitely make a butterfly. So when I was a kid growing up, I loved creating. Whether it was building stuff out of Lego or making like a little paper airplane or stuff like that. I loved making things with my hands and just using my imagination to let it run wild. And so as someone who is half Japanese myself, I really got into origami and folding, stuff like that. So my aunt got me this kit from Japan where it outlined every little detail you could possibly think of for origami. All the different folds you can make, all the different designs, the animals, really anything you could think of. And that really inspired me to learn more about what you could do with these kinds of papers. So I took it and I ran with it. I made everything in the book, and once I finished that, I looked up everything that you could do online, and then after that I kind of just used my own creations and ideas to do whatever I wanted. But after a while I kind of grew out of that and really didn't think much of it until a couple years later when I went on vacation with my family. We stayed in a hotel and we show up and there's this monkey sitting on our bed. How did that get here? But I looked closer and it was made out of towels. And I thought, that is so freaking cool. To combine these, to take these normal everyday items like towels and turn them into this gorgeous creation that really anyone could do if you put a little time or thought into it. And so I decided to learn how to do that, and it really inspired me to use my imagination. So I don't know if you can see this, but I can't exactly stand it up, but there's a butterfly for you. Now, I've been given about 20 minutes to do all this, so I can do more. But I feel like that would bore you, and listening to me ramble probably isn't the most exciting thing, so I've asked a few of my friends to come along and help me out. Guys, come on over here! There we are. Amazing. So, I hope you guys have prepared something because I was a little lacking. What have you guys got? Do you have something at least, Rose? Like, can you speak?
Okay, well, I've been really inspired by Florence Wilde lately. She was a resident who started her career in the States in med school.
The weather, and by nature, and each other, and well, they longed to express the unexplainable, feel the unattainable, move themselves and move others, and just feel less alone. So much pressure for a purpose, just keep doing, but what about being? I'm a human being, not a human doing. What am I doing?
I've got it. Sorry. The poem I was gonna write before, I think I came up with something. Oh, let's hear it, gang! Okay. Being present here in a park, trying with all these people to make art, finding inspiration from the world around, longing for a creation to be found, emerging from our minds in the dark. Colors being less than what we see, but it is still more than enough. The vision in our head can still be challenging and still pushing through the rough. Thank you everyone for coming to see our performance here, and thank you for coming to the opening of the Clark Center for the Arts. I'd like to thank Anne-Marie. As well as our directors, Tyler and Helen. And I hope you all have a wonderfully inspiring day.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you to all the volunteers that are here. We got tons of volunteers. So without the partners, our volunteers, we wouldn't be here today. So thanks Thanks, everyone. Yeah, let's have some fun.
Back where I came from, which was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, didn't have a lot of the different support items that we're accustomed to today, but we had Mom. So my brother, my sister, and Mom. Mom could tell a new story, and so she, we were always after her to entertain us, to tell us a story, and she would use that to get us to do the work that she wants us to do. She said, "Okay, you want a story? Yeah, Mom, tell us a story. Tell us a story." And we all get up on the bed and everything, all wide-eyed, and she'd say, "Okay, well, I'm gonna wait a minute now. Before I tell you the story, did you kids wash those dishes?" Yeah, Mom, we washed the dishes. Tell us the story. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to tell you the story. Usually something biblical, and she'll say, "Okay, wait a minute. Did you mop the floor?" "Yes, Mom, we mopped the floor. Now can we get a story?" Okay. Then she would tell us, introduce us to some characters or a story that we may or may not be familiar with. Sometimes it's Shadrach. I'll tell you the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And we'd go, "Oh!" We had no idea who they were, but yet and still the way she said it. Or I'm going to tell you the story of Samson. Old Samson and Delilah. I love Samson because Samson, he had muscles on his muscles. Oh, and the way she would act it out, it was very, very entertaining. And as she did this, we could see the imagery, we could see the lands that she was talking about. We could see Samson. We could see Lion's Den. We could see it. I mean, it was a motivation to put these visual words together so that story would be in our minds, that we can call up, and we could, if we wanted to paint a picture, we could do it. Okay? And so that's where that came from. Then when I went to York University, the anthropology, and experienced so many different stories, from myth and legend and so forth. I loved it, but I found quite vivid, in 3D, that's from Mom. In the, when I left Philadelphia, I left because of the violence down there. Like every morning we woke up, we always ask, what's happening? Anything going on? Yeah, somebody got stabbed. Such a person got shot. There was a shootout between this, that, or the other gang. There was a shootout with the police. It was just nuts. It was just insane, And sound familiar? And so, yeah, and so. I felt I wanted to get out. And so what I did is I decided to, as a result of a visit from the recruiters from the Army, Navy, Air Force, and so forth, they came to our school, high school, Benjamin Franklin High School, and they each gave a little talk to us students. And I was mostly impressed with the Air Force talk, a fellow from Cuba. And I decided, I wanted to talk more with him. I got together with him, he gave me an appointment, and we talked for quite some time. I was very impressed with where he came from, what he experienced was very much the way what I experienced and so forth, or was experiencing at that time. So I decided to join the U.S. Air Force, became a fighter bomber mechanic, become very comfortable with tools, which some of them I began to use to create with. And Veterans Administration paid my way through school, York University, for 4 years. And again, more myth, more legend, meeting so many different people from so many different walks, and and again, the imagery, the visuals, and so forth, and they would motivate me to choose the necessary words to speak to and of that story. And so I began to see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and carve it. They could carve it, If I wanted to do a horse, Eos, one of Jove's chariot, one of the horses that pulled Jove's chariot across the horizon, and I could see his Phlegon and his muscles and his blazing eyes and so forth. I could see it. I could see it as plain as day. Again, that's going back to Mom, and experiences that I had with her. So I mean, they say, where does it all come from? It came from all those different experiences, and when I do it, I feel good about it. I love doing it. I'm just glad it's legal. I've learned to feel comfortable with tools. That's the U.S. Air Force. This is just I didn't use this on the aircraft, but to have something like this with a dime bar, and I can manipulate this in such a way so that I can get the various contours of whatever it is that I'm creating, be it a face, be it an animal, be it what have you, animal form or what have you, because I can see it. But I don't just see it as flat. Like I see it, the roundness. I see the projection and recession. The whole notion of the chiaroscuro, the lights and the darks, and what the shadows are going to do. I see all of that, and I don't have to really put too much conscious thought into it, because it's happening right there, here and here. It's happening, and so I get so involved in what I'm doing that I don't realize quite often what's going on around me. Because I mean, a lot of this stuff I do in my driveway, even though I've got a studio right there, quite often I'm in the driveway, and with a piece of wood, and wood chips are flying and so forth, and I'm really getting the form to project and receive, to work. My face begins to come out, and I begin to see it, I feel it, and the machine is just an extension of my own will. This chainsaw, as powerful as it is just an extension of that thought here and that feeling there. And does it make sense to you? So, and then suddenly I turn around. I realize half the neighborhood is right there in my driveway looking at me. And like during COVID, I've had, people coming over and asking, gee, I'm so bored, like you gotta teach me how to do that, Dorsey. You gotta, and I would show them, but they say they want to let, but they are not serious. They don't get into it, but they love to say it. They love to come over and watch me doing it and so forth, which is fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. But at any rate, I start off with this guy, and with a dime bar, which means that instead of going straight along like that at the same width, it narrows down to about the shape of a diameter of a quarter or a dime, what have you. And I'm able to sort of get right into very tight quarters, and I'm able to manipulate the saw in such a way very easily, to round whatever it is that I want. To not only, create this, but to create that as well. You can do it very quickly, and the more you become accustomed to manipulate, your muscles begin to grow in such a way so as to manipulate that. It just comes with experience. Yes.
So, do you have like